everybody, it's Kathy Champion and you're back in my craft room at Random Acts of Crafting. I saw a card on Pinterest that really spoke to me, and I thought I'm going to try without any instructions, and this is normally the way I do cards. I'm going to try to do a card by just looking at what I see and try to make it mine. So the first thing we're going to need to do is cut a piece of black cardstock. This is British Monroe's Raven, and I am going to cut it to 5.5 because I'm cutting it on the 11-inch side and I want an A2 size card. So that's going to give me this. So now what I want to do is I want to score this in half at 4.25. So we're going to put it in on the 8.5 inch side, and we know that to score this we need to do it, and I need to find my bone folder. Okay, so we need to score this at 4.25. So I think right here would be 4 1/4. This is going to be our halfway point, and I'm going to just bend this over. And I'm going to put my edges together because you know paper's not perfect. And we are going to line it up and crease it down. Now the British Monroe is a very heavy duty cardstock. I think it's like 110-pound weight. And it gives us a good amount of cardstock. Now I want to cut this in half. So what I'm going to do is I know that this is 4 1/4. So half of 4 1/4 would be 2 1/8. So I'm going to make myself a little mark right there, and I'm going to take this back to my trimmer, and I'm going to cut that down at 2 1/8. So 2 1/8 would be right there. Looking to see if it's lining up with my mark, and it is. 2 1/8. So I'm just going to slice that off, and now we have a nice little place here to put some decorative paper. So I'm going to measure. I know this is 2 1/8, so I need a 2-inch strip of my green. So 2 inch. So I'm just going to put this in on the 2 inch, and I'm going to cut this little piece. Now this is going to mat on here perfectly because it was already the right length. So this piece is going to be 5 1/4 by 2 inches. Okay. So that's going to go right here. Now we're going to need another green piece. That's going to live on the inside of this card. And that needs to be 4 by 5 1/4. So 5 1/4. Now I didn't work this card out prior to coming to y'all. I just thought I will just go on and we'll work it out online together. So that's going to be like that, and that's going to be like this. Now we need some decorative paper to go on here, and I chose this butterfly. So I'm going to lay my pieces here and my scrap pieces there. Now I need to pay attention to orientation on this piece. So I know that this piece is 2 inches, so I want 1 7/8 on this. So let's see, 1 7/8 is almost 2 inches, but not quite. So I'm going to cut that down, and we know that we need it to be 5 1/8. So I know we're working in 8s, and we don't like that, but this is necessary to get this card in the dimensions that we want it. So now this little lovely piece is going to sit, and I think I need to take that down about 1/4 inch more, or 1/8 of an inch more. I didn't get my bearings on that one very good. So that's going to live right here on top of this, and then that's going to live on top of the black, and that's going to be so pretty. And this is going to live on the inside here. So now we need some ovals. So we're going to actually do some die cutting, and I am going to use, for my black piece, I just want something plain. So I am going to get my stitched ovals, and that's these right here. And I think for the black, and this is basically how I design my cards. I put everything, I lay it out like so, and then I will pull a die off and see if that's what I want. Let's see if we can go one bigger. And we can. So we're going to go one bigger on this. So I am going to cut this out of black. So we have a black piece here. So that's going to get cut out of this. So let's bring over our Revolution and my plates. So I have my base plate and my magnetic plate and my die cut plate. So I'm going to load this in, put this down. Let's see, I'm going to go up about like that. It doesn't really matter, but I thought if I can keep a strip of the black, that's saving me paper. So I'm just going to crank this through and get a good cut on it. And there is our first, if I can get that to come up. Alrighty, I got all of that cleaned out. So as you can see, we got the little stitching on the outer edges. So what I did is I went in and I found an oval that has a scalloped edge on it. And these are the Nested Scallop Stitch Oval Dies by Gina Marie. And I will list all the products that I use and links as to where you can find them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this piece out of a green, the same green that we're doing our card with. So I'm going to bring the platform back over, put this down, and then we're going to cut this piece. And now we have this piece. And that one came out very nicely. And then we're going to need one more, and that's going to be a white piece that's going to live in the middle that we're going to actually put our butterfly on. And look how pretty that's going to look. Now the last piece needs to be just like the one before this, and so I'm going back to those stitch dies, and I'm going to grab, I think, this one. So what I do is I just go in and I look at my dies and I'll lay it down on top of one to see if that's going to work for me. Now that looked really good, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I'm going to put it up there to the top, and I guess it would help if I picked my plate up. Okay, let's lay that right there, and we're going to cut this one out. And I'm going to clean this one up and I'll be right back. Well, this one looks like it cleaned by itself. Yeah, this one looks good, so I don't have to clean it. Alright. So now we have all of our die pieces cut, and they are going to live on top of each other just like that. And they're going to live on the card like this. I think that's going to be so pretty. So I'm going to get my stamp set. I'm going to stamp our sentiment, and we're going to cut a butterfly. And I do need to pull my butterfly dies and see which one I want to use. And y'all know that I love butterflies, so I have bukus of butterflies. So the only problem we should have here is deciding which butterfly we want to use. Now we need something on a smaller scale because this is a card, and I like that one. Look at that die. I think we're going to use this one, and let's see what color we want to do our butterfly out of. And I'm actually leaning toward maybe a blue. I'm thinking a blue or the pink would be beautiful. Let's see if I can find a scrap of maybe the pink. I think that would be pretty since we're showing pink butterflies on there. So let me go ahead and see if I can get a piece of pink, and we will be right back. Okay, after much ado, I got my butterfly cut and weeded, and he looks beautiful. So that was a task. The next thing that we need to do is to stamp our sentiment on the white piece. So I chose this stamp set, and it says just to say hello. So I always say hey because I'm Southern and well, a little bit Southern. I'm going to say just to say hey on my front of my card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off the just to say, and I'm going to do this up to the top a little bit, and let me look back at my Pinterest. Yeah, actually I want it down this way, just to say, and we're going to use the hey. Not quite Southern enough to say howdy, but I am Southern enough to say hey. Just to say hey. And I think I'm going to stamp this in my Misty. You know, you don't have to, but I am a firm believer that if you have tools, use them. Use them to your advantage. So if you don't have tools, you can easily line this up on your piece and stamp it, you know, the old-fashioned way, just with a stamp block. But I want to make sure that I'm getting this positioned about where I want it. So I am going to put my magnet here, and I'm going to put hay down first, and I want that to be right on the very bottom, just like that. And then I want this to be offset just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this up with my door. It's okay if that moves, we'll just position it back in the corner. That's the good thing with the Misty, you can always reposition your piece. So it is a little bit more difficult when you're dealing with an oval than a square, because you do have wiggle room. But we're going to try our best to get this nice and straight. And I'm even going to put that magnet there. And I'm just going to bring it back down to see if that's where I want it, and it is. So I'm going to grab my VersaFine. And I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And we're going to bring it over and stamp. Just like that. Trying to figure out where to put my ink. I moved my black ink, and so now it throws me because I still want to reach for that original place that I had it. Do y'all ever do that? I do it all the time. Alright, I love the way that turned out. That's exactly what I wanted. And my butterfly, and I'm going to bend his wings just a tiny bit so that he can look like he's landed right there. So I'll tell you what, we have all of our pieces in place. I'm going to just wipe my stamps off just a tiny bit, and I'll clean them after the video. I usually do try to wipe the excess ink off so that it doesn't transfer, but you know what, if it does, oh well. It's just a piece of cardstock in there anyway. Alrighty, now getting back to our elements, I'm going to open up the card first, and I want to map this right about here. And I'm going to go ahead and get my art glitter glue and glue down my green piece. And I cut this so that we should have a nice little border all the way around, and we do, so that's good. So now we're going to fold that down. We're going to map this piece on here, but before I do that, I think I'm going to map this one on here. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this piece. And I'm just going to glue this down. You know, I have never been a big fan of green. But as of late, there's something about green and pink that just really speaks to my soul. And I love it. So I find in the springtime especially, this cabbage green along with pinks and blues and golds is just stunning. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open this piece up like that, and I am going to put glue all over this one. Just like that, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to even this up because I just want a scant bit of that black to show all the way around. Isn't that pretty? Now we're going to go ahead and build our piece that's going to go on the front, but I want to get this built first, and you'll see why when we get there. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put glue on the back of my green piece. And I'm going to put this down, getting it even as I can. And all I'm doing with the bone folder is smushing out my glue. Now I want to put this one down. And this should be really easy to glue down because we've got that little stitch line on the green piece. And this is going to line right up to it. And that worked out great with the different dies that I used. Again, bone folder, squish out the glue, and now for our butterfly, which is pretty much the star of the show. And I am going to put him with a little glue. I want to make sure that his little antennas are glued down and his body. And we're going to put him like right there. And now we are going to lay this down right here. But I want to cut a white piece just like this. So let me grab that die out again. And I think it was the third one from the largest. And these are Sizzix dotted oval dies. Yeah, that's that one. So I want to cut a white piece using this die. And I have a white piece of cardstock right here. I'm just going to take this over to my die cut machine, and I'm going to do it off camera since we've already no need to clean the surface off and everything for you to watch me do the same thing that you've seen me do. So we're not gonna go there. We're just gonna cut this out really quick. And this will not take long at all. That cut. Now the reason I waited to cut this is I want this to line up perfectly with this so that you don't see this until you open the card, and I think this is going to be so pretty like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue this down first. I want to stamp a sentiment on here, but I'm not going to do it right this minute. I am going to put this down right here. And now I'm going to close that, and I'm going to put this right like that out enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to mark where I need to put my glue. So I'm going to look at these two little marks right here and know that I don't want my glue to go past those marks. So let's see. And we'll see if I can transfer the marks over here. And I think that's right there. And this one is right here. Now I'm going to take my eraser and go back and just clean that off of the top of that one and the top of this one. So now I've got the marks back here, and I can see exactly where my glue needs to go. So looking for my lines. So we're going to put that glue right there, and I am going to line this up right with my oval that's on the inside. And I'm seeing a couple little places that I did not get my little dot pieces out. There we go. I did get a little glue right there, but that's all right. That is okay. Now I do want to put a piece of pattern paper here, so we know that we cut this piece at. Let's see. It was cut at one end, 7/8 by 5 inches. So we're going to do the same thing, 1 7/8 by 5 inches. I think I heard somebody yell, "Put your pen back in your glue." Was that you? Oh goodness. One day I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that glue thing with putting the pen back in it. I'm gonna get it down perfectly right. Maybe. Alright, so 1 7/8 by 5. And we're going to just dress this piece up right here. Do I want to put a green quarter? I think I do. So let's see, we got a little green piece right here. Will that work? Perfect. And let's see if this will live on top of that. It will. Maybe take just a tiny hair off of this. And when I say a tiny hair, I mean just a tiny little piece. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece to this piece. And then we'll glue it down to that so that we have a little matching piece. I think that'll be really pretty. You know what? I need some elbow room, y'all. So I need to get that out of my way so that I can get this glued down where I need it to be. There. Alrighty, now we're just going to glue this inside. Okay, so we got this all glued down, and I went and looked in my stamps and I found this is a little stamp set, and I don't even know where I got it. I don't know what it came from, but it was an El Cheapo. But it has "Don't Worry, Be Happy" and this little bumblebee, and I'm going to use that on the inside. So I'm going to stamp this right here, and let's see. I'm going to grab a good size stamp block for that. Oops, I got it crooked. That's one thing you want to do when you pick up your stamps. Try to make sure that they are nice and straight. That looks good. And I also found this little bumblebee, and we're going to put that on there since it's "Don't Worry, B-E-E, Happy." So I'm going to stamp the "Be Happy" first, and since this stamp, I don't know how it's going to stamp, I'm going to stamp on a piece of scrap paper before I commit it to my card. And I'm glad I did, because it did not stamp good. Let's try it again. Much better. Alright, so now I feel comfortable taking it to my card. So I'm going to ink it up again, and I'm going to bring it to my card. Just like that. I'm going to give it a few minutes to set that ink. Oh, so cute. So now I want to do my little bumblebee right over top, and I think I want him to be maybe to the side. Oh, so cute. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a yellow Tombow marker, and I'm going to use Tombow because I was, normally I would go for my alcohol markers, but because I'm using VersaFine, I'm going to use my water-based marker so it doesn't smear. And I'm just going to make my little bumblebee yellow and black. His face, I'm not sure. Let's do him a yellow face. And you know, it's amazing how cute oh yeah, I like that. I really do like that. I was on Bill and Tracy's live yesterday, and somebody was talking about crosshatch, I think was the word, and that's when you color in a basket weave design, and so I decided to do that on his wings. I think he turned out really cute. So there's the inside of our card, just to say, hey, don't worry, be happy. So I think this card turned out absolutely beautiful. I love the sentiments on it. I love the colors. It looks spring, and like I told y'all the other day, I am so ready for spring. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you'll try this card. And you know, if you don't have a die cut machine, try to invest in one. You will be so happy you did, because your crafting abilities will take you places that you could not imagine just by collecting your dies, and you have them forever. And it is an investment, but so worth it, because look at this. I cut all 3 of my layers on a die machine, and I cut my butterfly. So I am so pleased with the way this card turned out. I think it's very, very cute. I love the way the little message is hid back there, and I just love it, everything about it. So I hope you'll try it. If this is the first time that you're here at my channel, if you would please hit that little subscribe button. It's right down there, right below. Hit that subscribe button. Please give this video a thumbs up, and if you would, share it. Share it on your Facebook page. Share it with other people, and help me grow my channel. That is my main goal, is to share my love for crafting with everyone that watches my channel, and also to share love. Love goes so far, and it's the one thing that we do not have enough of. And I think that was a song from way back when, but it's so true. People are rude and ugly, and I want us as a crafting family to show that love to other people that we have in our heart. The same love we have for one another, the same love that Christ had for us, although I think his love was far greater than anything we could comprehend. But nevertheless, share the love in your heart with someone today. Tell them that you love them, that they mean the world to you, and you know, just be that blessing that someone needs. And until we craft again, let everything that you do and say bring glory to your Heavenly Father, for he's so worthy. God bless each and every one of you. Until we craft again, I love you. Bye-bye.